that.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? We back at it. Teach Me Tuesday, and man, it feels like I haven't been on here in forever, man. How y'all been doing?
Good. I feel the same way. I feel like
Doing
it's
great.
been way too long.
I know,
It's
right?
a little bit of
Yep.
a
Well, we've been about 2 weeks hanging out on vacation.
Yeah,
So now we're back in the saddle.
yeah. A lot of people, last week was Fourth of July week. Chilled out a little bit. Did y'all shoot fireworks? Anything last week?
no, we
Now we
didn't.
actually,
Y'all went to see some or anything?
our neighborhood actually does this big Fourth of July celebration like a week and a half before.
Yeah.
So like on the Saturday before the fourth, well, 2 Saturdays before the Fourth of July, man, we had this whole like big golf cart parade thing. I mean, it was probably at least you
Mm,
know
mm,
like 3 or 4 thousand people out
yeah.
at our amphitheater watching the fireworks show. So
Did
food
y'all
trucks, things of that sort. Pretty.
did y'all grow up shooting fireworks like that, or
Oh
or
yeah,
y'all?
man.
Yeah,
Man, a
yeah.
little secret. My second favorite job compared to what I do now was
Uh
when I
huh.
made the least amount of money. I used to work for TNT Fireworks,
Really,
um, the warehouse in Roseville, South Carolina. Man, I used to
Roseville,
sling fireworks for a living.
Roseville. If you don't, you ain't from Orangeburg if you don't know about Roseville. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? Oh man, but yeah, man, that's what we did, man. That's like one of the things I always remember as a kid, man. My dad, we would go to one of them stands and we go buy like the box with all the assorted ones in it. You know what I'm saying? Had
Hmm.
all the different ones and shoot fireworks. So I wanted to do the same thing for my kids, man. So like every year we go buy fireworks, New Year's, 4th of July, and we light them, shoot them, you know. So that's kind of what
All
we
the time.
kind of did. Yeah. What about did y'all cook on the grill or anything? 4th of July?
Unfortunately,
Uh,
not. We didn't.
Oh,
We
nope.
didn't
okay.
cook out. Typically, we would. The weather. It was rainy. I think actually Fourth of July, the day itself was very like rainy here.
Mm,
So we
mm,
actually didn't do any type of grilling or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, and if we did, I'm trying to remember, Gab. I think we actually just put some hot dogs or hamburger. We did something minor. We didn't do
gotcha.
like a full out cookout like we typically would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Yeah, that's like the National Grilling Day or something. It's
Right.
like everybody in my household was like, "Daddy, you gonna put something on the grill today?" I was like, I kind of really just want to go to somebody else cookout. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them clean
No
up.
doubt.
I'll bring the paper plates. You know what I'm saying? I can bring some of the meats if I can do that for you.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm not gonna prolong, guys. I just want to catch up
Cool, cool.
how things are going. LaShawn, if you don't mind, what have you been seeing lately in the market, or what I guess kind of questions are popping up that you're noticing pretty commonly?
So the looming question right now that everyone tends to have is like it's really like is it still the right time to buy? A lot
Mm,
of people are still on the fence with, just different changes whether, this the home prices, if it's the interest rates or what have you. People are still just wanting to know like, okay, what is the market doing? Should I still buy right now or should
gotcha,
I wait?
gotcha, gotcha. What about you, Gavin?
Yeah, man. I mean, pretty much the same. Our stories are the same when it comes to the clients that we're speaking to.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it, my advice is, man, guys, it's always a great time to buy. Don't
Mm,
uh, don't fall into the trap of thinking
mm-hmm.
um, that you're not ready, or you know, um, or that the market's not ready for you. So it's time.
Yeah.
How about you guys? How about you, Wilmot?
Yeah,
What
I like what you said, Gavin. I think your timing is your timing. You know, if you're ready to buy, you're ready to buy. If you're ready to sell, you're ready to sell. Uh, but I do notice that don't get me wrong, it's still a seller's market. Okay, still a seller's market. And the reason I say that is because of the lack of inventory that's out there for buyers. I'm working with a couple buyers right now, and it's just tough to find find them what they're looking for in this particular market. And it is competitive as well. If a property that is highly desirable in the price range where there's a lot of demand at, I mean, it's tough. It's still tough. And you dealing with multiple offers on properties. So I'm seeing that again, So it's still a seller's market, So lack of demand, lack of supply. I'm gonna put it like that. Lack of supply out there.
So
Lack of
let's kind
demand.
of like, I guess, dive in a little bit in
Hmm.
that so that people can understand that. Because sometimes people, I feel that people misinterpret what it means to be a seller's market. They're thinking like,
Hmm.
oh, the seller should want to give me closing cost and cut me a deal because
Yeah.
it's their market or whatever. But
Yeah.
really, it's more so based on what you're saying. It's really like the
Yeah.
opposite, right?
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
there's a lack of inventory. There's a shortage of homes,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they can be a little bit more selective, picky on what they will or will not do. It's in their
Exactly.
advantage, right?
Exactly. Think about supply and demand,
Uh-huh.
economics. Okay. When there's a plethora of homes on the market, guess what? It's a buyer's market at that point. It's you have a lot to pick from, man. You can go shopping and say, "Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. Which one is going to give me the best deal?" You'll see prices starting to drop, all of those different things. But when it's, don't get me wrong, is it what it was a year ago? It's not. Okay. It was bananas a year ago. I think it has calmed down from where it was, where people were bidding. I mean, I've seen 30, $40,000 above ask price.
Right.
That was a crazy market. So let me first say that, but it's still is a seller's market because of the lack of supply of homes that's on the market. But let me say this too. And I That's a loaded question because there are homes on the market. There might be higher price homes that are still sitting, and you say, "Well, I'm seeing these houses sit for a couple months," but just understand, like those are at a higher price point.
Uh-huh.
There's the higher you go in price point. Guess what? There's not as many buyers in those price ranges. Okay,
So with
so
that being said, I mean, what can someone expect, right? So if you're preparing your buyers as as you're taking them out, looking at homes and things like that, what expectation should they have, going into this seller's market?
So I kind of like to prep them before we start looking at homes. Okay, I'm gonna tell them and say, "Hey," no matter how much I preach this, they gotta experience it. It seems like um, I always tell them, "Hey, let's be ready." First of all, make sure you're pre-approved, and I keep preaching that. Okay, makes because the house you love might just pop on the market. And in this market, in this seller's market, you want to be ready. You want to be able to pull the trigger, like I call it. All right. You don't want to be scrambling at the last minute to get your stuff together when your dream home pops on the market. Because there are going to be buyers that are sitting there waiting, that's been waiting maybe for a year, that's been waiting for 6 months, that's been looking. So I try to preach that to them, but also um, depending on their price point, I also try to give them scenarios like, hey guys, we start looking at homes and say, hey, this is a deal. I look at the market each and every day. I try to preach that to them. I say, when we go look at this house, if it's something that you really love, hey, let's
Uh-huh.
go ahead and move on it. Because if not, someone else will, you know, depending on your price point. So, yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that so what I've heard, let me just recap what you said. So one, making sure that they are prepared. So
Prepared.
that way when something comes as quickly as it may, that they
Yeah.
can go ahead and buy. And how you come prepared is making sure you have that pre-approval, making sure that, the financing piece is secured and tight.
Uh-huh.
And then
Exactly.
the other piece of that is also maybe being patient, right? Being patient with the process because, there's not as many houses. You may have to wait till another house is listed, or maybe a sacrifice may have to happen, like that wish list that they may want, that they probably have to maybe skinny down.
That's you. You hit on something very, very important, guys. I'm gonna say this. You know, I know. I think I don't know if we watch HGTV and we see certain things that they're getting. And I get it. I want to have nice things. I want what I want. Don't get me wrong. But there's some things you might have to compromise on. Okay, you might not be able to get the 5 acres. You know,
First go
you
around.
yeah, you might not be able to get the 4 bedroom with the 2 bath
That's
right
right.
now. Or if it is, let's say it is 4 bedroom, 2 bath, but it doesn't have the open concept like you want, or the granite countertops. Though some things in some homes can be changed. Okay. So if it's cosmetic, guys, let's try to look at the footprint of the house and say, hey, is this the layout that I want? Is this the size of home that I want? Okay, if it is, okay, what are some things that I can possibly do later on in this home to what increase equity in it and also make it to what I want? Okay. Some things to consider when if you can't find exactly what you want, especially in this seller's market. Yeah.
Is there anything
Yeah.
you want to add to that, Gavin?
No, I mean, clients have to have that come to Jesus and and realization of where we are in today's
Yeah.
market. I mean, like Wilmot said, we want what we want, and we know some of, especially today's younger buyers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody won't have a sense of understanding that I should be able to get whatever I want to pay for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and in the housing market today, you know, everybody has an expensive taste, or we sometimes use the verbiage champagne taste, but that's not what your budget is. Your
Mm-hmm.
budget doesn't
Mm-hmm.
doesn't match your champagne taste that you have.
Yeah.
So sometimes we gotta have
Makes
Kool Aid on certain days. We can't pop champagne bottles every day. We gotta bring it back down, and just having that mindset that it's okay to compromise. It's okay because the ultimate goal, yes, is to purchase a home. It's the ultimate goal is to find somewhere to live, to stop paying rent, paying rent, and now investing in yourself and building wealth and equity through real estate.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have that mindset and that's your ultimate goal, guys, that compromise is a whole lot easier. So it's an easier pill to swallow. That I can't go out and get the lavish things that I want because my budget doesn't show that
Yeah.
doesn't meet that lavish lifestyle.
Yeah. But so can we be real on here for a little bit?
Absolutely,
Let's
I think
let's
that's what the people want.
let's be 100 if you don't mind. I've noticed this a lot, and I'm just speaking out there, and this is something I had to go through myself. So I'm not just preaching to people. I went through this myself. Like, I know monthly payment is a big thing,
Hmm.
and I want you to be within your, what you can afford. Okay, don't get me wrong. However, I have noticed some people might have a set monthly payment because they're used to renting. Okay, but understand, when you buying a home, guys, this I get it. It's going to be more expensive. Okay, it's going to be more expensive at times. But maybe some sacrifices here and there, to help you take care of that maybe extra 100, 200, or $300 more a month. Guys, a lot of times we spend that on fast food in a week or two, or
Hmm.
maybe going to the store and buying, I don't know, you might have to sacrifice getting that Gucci this month or that
Hmm.
Louis, you know. Um, but you can have a home that you can live in instead of purchasing those other items, guys. So I just want to bring that up because I think we need to hear that as a people, because and it's nothing wrong with Louis, it's nothing wrong with Gucci. Okay, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with those, but sometimes we just got to make some sacrifices if we want to invest in ourselves and invest for our future. So
Yeah, and,
I,
and
I
even go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say I totally agree with what you're saying, and
yeah.
I try to have this conversation frequently. I've been having it a lot more frequent with a lot of our clients. It's just we said the word, plenty of times today so far, it's mindset. Is
Mindset.
really understanding what it really means to be a homeowner.
Yeah.
Like it's truly bigger than just a place to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think if people wrap their minds around like this is an investment, or like in some of
Mm-hmm.
the previous videos where we talked about being able to use that equity to leverage different
Mm-hmm.
things in
Mhm.
our
Mm-hmm.
lives to get us to other financial positions. If you're thinking about it from that standpoint, then to Gavin's point, that sacrifice won't be as difficult. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're walking into it like, okay, can I live in this house? Does it meet the things I need? Like, is it a house in the right location? Do I
Mm-hmm.
have, at least the minimum amount of bedrooms I need for myself and my children?
Yeah.
Can I get and commute from here to work, within a reasonable time? If it
Yeah.
can check a lot of those major boxes and you can afford it, you
Mhm.
can qualify for whatever program you're looking for, why not purchase it? It doesn't
Ex-
have to meet 100% of what you're desiring right now. Because as Gavin and I told our story the last time we did this, we, use this particular process of we bought multiple houses in order to
mm,
get to a house that we really, really wanted. We didn't get everything on the first go round. And
wow.
Or the
sometimes,
second.
or the second go round, you're right. Yeah. So sometimes you might have to do it in stages to kind of get you there
Mm,
and, save along the way.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I just think that we need to hear that. And I think once we understand, like, hey man, that for you getting into a home might be you not going to TJ Maxx once every week. It might be just once a week,
Mhm.
or once a month. That might be you getting into a house. You know, so I just want to put that out there. I noticed that comes up a lot, and I just want people to know that you can do it. You can be a homeowner. It just might take a little sacrifice, and it might not be long before you can go back to what you were doing before and still have a home as well. So, yeah.
I totally agree. Um, So one of the other questions that I think we're going to address here is right now, like, what are you seeing? You kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, how long are houses sitting on the market nowadays?
So what I'm seeing is on average is about 50 days on market. Okay.
Okay.
50 days on market. And like I said, that's average. Okay.
Hmm.
And I want to stress that because certain price points, for instance, like Orangeburg, if a nice 3-bed, 2-bath house pops on the market in, let's say, the price range of 150 to 200,000,
Mhm.
that 50-day is decreased drastically. Okay.
Right.
That's like the prime home right now people are looking for in Orangeburg, okay, in that price range, and it will sell quickly. um in the right area. Let me stress that too. Okay. But and also in certain neighborhoods, I mean, certain neighborhoods right now are very highly desirable, and people, in certain, it don't matter what price range, if they want, if a house becomes available in that neighborhood. We got two neighborhoods like that in Orangeburg, Edisto Plantation, and you got Ramsgate. you
Mhm.
know those two neighborhoods are pretty high end neighborhoods, and the homes sell pretty quickly in those areas. Even though these homes are upwards of at least 350 or above, price
Mhm.
point wise. So those neighborhoods do really well. But don't get me wrong, it's some houses that are sitting on the market, that's been on the market for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months.
Mhm.
A lot of those are maybe higher end houses in other neighborhoods that just, because of maybe higher interest rates, some knock some people down from, being able to afford that house. So, but yeah,
Right. So
a year ago, this time they probably wouldn't be available. Yeah.
Yeah.
gotcha. So is it safe to, I guess, to say, or to come to the conclusion that the houses that are sitting on the market that long,
Mm-hmm.
um, is, what I from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is, like you said, those higher price point homes that aren't
Mm-hmm.
as there aren't the quality, not the quality of buyer, but those who can afford those price points
Mm-hmm.
um, aren't necessarily pulling the triggers as fast as those homes that come on the market in that price range where a lot of people, majority of people, are able
Mm-hmm.
to afford, like you said,
Yeah.
in Orangery or at 150. Also, what I've seen though, you got those homes that come on the market that are, let's say, fixer uppers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and because they're waiting on investors to come in to maybe purchase those fixer uppers, or someone who has the means and capability of taking on like a renovation type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those sit on the market for a while,
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
which helps increase that average 50 day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, those two, because it's some properties that are overpriced that's on the market too. Let's take that in
mhm.
consideration too. If you got a good realtor, he should be or she should be able to tell you whether a property is overpriced. You know, by looking at the comps in the area. And I think sometimes with some people, they know that it is a seller's market, so they price their home so high to the point where it's like, man, I just want to see what I can get for it.
Right? Yeah.
um, but that doesn't mean it will appraise. But a lot of these, let's
Ooh,
say,
say that again.
yeah, exactly. So, um, and let me go back to that so people can understand what I mean. So, for instance, let's just say you're in an area and the average price point in that area is about $150,000. Well, yeah. And you got a seller that says, all right, man, I know this is a good seller's market, man. So let me see how much money I can make. So I want to price it at 225. Well, that house might sit a little longer. Why? Because it's way above what the average house is priced or sold for in that area recently. Okay, so if your realtor is looking at it, it's like, oh, if he knows the area, it's like, man, that's that house stick out like a sore thumb when it comes to pricing. You know, it's like, man, usually homes go for 180, 175 in that area, but this one is priced 225. What's so great about it? You know, but after you look at it, it's like, man, is is I don't know how this is gonna appraise. And what I mean by appraise is when we go through that mortgage process, guys, you got to get an appraisal.
Hmm.
And if you agree to buy that house at 225, but if the appraisal comes in lower, then at that point we got to go back to the renegotiation table,
That's
because
right.
the appraiser determines what the value is on that property. So yeah, I hope I ain't go too far in the weeds on that one. So
No, no, no.
but yeah.
No, I
So
think you
that,
addressed it because again, that goes back to, like you said, a year ago, the craziness and the market being so volatile,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
where people were still paying, even though appraisals were coming in lower than what the list price was for the homes, people were so in dire need, or so willing to jump in and purchase at influx prices. So
yeah, yeah. We saw appraisal gaps, where let's just say the house is priced at 430, you offer for 64, and someone puts in an appraisal gap clause saying, hey, I'll pay up to this amount above appraised value. And that was that's what we saw, man. That's what you had to be competitive. So
So one thing I'm going to add to that, because you guys gave some really really good information, um and so I know, if I'm, because sometimes I like to think of things as if, like, if I was the buyer, if I was the consumer, if I was the person
mhm.
shopping for the house, right? And so how does a person know how they should approach, this real estate market? And so for
mm,
me, the answer to that question is you have to make sure you're working with a solid team. You have to make sure that you're working with a good realtor, a great lender, so that they can properly advise you. Because some people have these mindset, they think because they got nothing wrong with it. They got some degrees and they're educated and they may know a little something
yeah,
about this industry, but they don't necessarily work in it, have a license day in and day out like we do, right?
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
they may feel, oh, well, I may see this house priced at this amount, but I think I can get a better deal. Let's do this. Or I want to pay this. And so sometimes it's almost like gambling. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that may work, and sometimes, oftentimes, it may not work
Yeah.
based on what you're saying. Well, the comps that you pull, there's a lot more information that you have to assess to see
Mm.
should you approach, you know, this offer in this particular way based on how many days it's been on the market. You know,
Yeah.
what is it priced for? What are the
Yeah.
comps showing? All those other different factors,
Yeah.
and that can kind of make or
And,
break your experience or process, right?
and you know, Hassan, on the flip side of that, you got to think about it from the sell. You know, those who are looking to sell right now as well, because you got people who have made updates in their home or
Yeah.
who have converted their their garage space to a man cave or whatever things that to them felt like, oh man, I spent $30,000 doing this, so man, I threw a lot of
I want to
value
make my
into my
money
home.
back.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah. Yeah.
guys, lo and behold, that may not that value that you thought you put into your home isn't the same value that someone else will see in your home, or that an appraiser will count towards the value of your home. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, y'all preaching right now,
your
because
home.
oh man, like I
That
see
makes
both
your job a
sides.
little bit more difficult, doesn't it?
Oh man, I see both sides, man, and I it's my job to kind of help both sides see. Both sides feel like they're winning in some
Right.
way. You know, you know, I get it. You're a buyer. You're looking to buy. Man, you want the house for the cheapest price. I get it. But if it came on the market yesterday, and you and 20 other people are looking at this house today, I would highly doubt. I would highly, not recommend you offer something $30,000 below ask price. I'm just giving an example, like how some people think it's like, man, let's offer 30,000 below. It's like, well, let me say this first. If it's some things to consider, how long it's been on the market. Okay, think about that. All right. A lot of times, if it's just hit the market, the sellers aren't that motivated right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, but if it's been on the market for a while, they might be motivated now and willing to negotiate on their price point. Okay. That's something to consider. Also, think about it like this: ask your agent to maybe see if he can reach out to the listing agent and see, hey, how much and do they have any current offers on the house? Okay. Why is that important? Think about it. If their current offers on the house, your offer isn't as appealing if it's $30,000 below the ask price. You can almost, chop it up and say you won't be getting this home. Okay.
Right.
Um, so if it's in a highly desirable area, it's like, oh man, guess what? You're not the only people looking at this home.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're not the only one. It's a lot of people, especially if your agent tells you, like, hey man, houses don't go come available in this house pretty often. I'm gonna tell you now. Trust your agent. Trust your agent, guys. I'm preaching that. I've been in both scenarios where I've given my advice. It's up to the client to determine what they want to do. I can't force you to do something, okay? But if you really want to be competitive in this market, I would say make sure you have a good agent and trust them. Okay. That's the probably the best advice I can give somebody. I don't know whoever your agent is. If you feel like they're experienced enough to know how to win a bidding war, hey, tell them, say, what should I do? How should I go in when I make my offer? How can I make my offer the most appealing? See what the seller needs. Okay. Sometimes the seller might just need to move out maybe a month and a half later, or whatever. Cater to that seller. All right. Instead of catering to you. All right.
Yes,
That can,
if you want the home,
if you want the house. That's just
if
if
you
you want
want
the
the house,
house.
if you want
That's
the
just
house.
if you want the house. That's
What
some those are some things. Those are some things you can consider to make your offer more competitive. Um, you know, so it might not be price point all the time. People just think if I just offer the most, I'll be all right. No, it might not be that. It might be
Mhm.
something else. So yeah,
That's really good stuff. I mean, honestly, what you're saying is it's trust and communication, which I think to me are the most valuable things you need in any relationship. You need to be able
Mhm.
to trust, the people that you're working with, the partners, the people that you chose to, enter into this process with, and you have to be able to properly communicate. And that's all on all sides. You as the realtor properly
yeah,
communicating with the other side to kind of fill out
yeah,
what the needs are, what the demands are,
yeah,
so that way you can best serve your client,
yeah,
so that everyone reaches the same common goal is they want to sell their house, you want to buy a house, and we want to give you a loan. So it's like it's
Mhm.
a win-win for everyone, right?
exactly. LaShawn, you said something earlier. Making sure your team is strong. Okay. And that's your realtor, that's your attorney, that's your mortgage person. Why? Because that listing agent is going to review that contract with that buyer, with that seller, and they're gonna say, hey, I know that lender. They're
Yep.
good. You
Mhm.
know, I know that agent, man, they don't play.
Yep.
Or they make sure we close, or they're professional, they're
Right.
timely, they're prompt. Guys, all of those things are important. I'm just telling you what I'm dealing with on the seller side when I'm listing the house, and also on the buyer side. I know that, hey, there are certain things that agents want to see. They want to get their client to the closing table. They don't have to play no games with nobody, have to
Mhm.
chase after you for certain documents, you
Yep.
know. So yeah, I'm
That's
I'm
all good stuff.
I'm venting right now on
But
this
no,
thing
but
right
you're absolutely right. Because I think about how even I know you and Gavin grew up together and y'all went to school. Y'all from Orangeburg. Did y'all actually go to school together? They
now.
went to school
Mhm.
together? Okay, I
Yeah.
went to school
William
together.
J. Clark Middle School, baby. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
baby. Bridge
But
Howard.
how we also became, you were the listing agent on a transaction that we were representing the buyers, and you got a copy of our pre-approval letter, and you were like, I know these people. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Because it
yeah.
was a situation where you had more than one offer in hand, but you
Mm-hmm.
knew, oh, this name looked familiar. I can,
Mm,
these seems like reputable people I can trust. And
yeah,
you were more prone to take our
yeah.
letter because you know who we were and you knew that,
Mm,
hey, if
mm-hmm.
they did it, these are solid people. And the same
Yeah,
things, exactly what you're saying too.
yeah, man. That's so important in this business, your reputation.
So,
I can't tell you how important that is to have a good reputation, that know you do good work.
yep.
Right.
That know, hey, if Gavin and LaShawn approve you, they have thoroughly looked at your financials.
Yep.
We majority of the time we're going to get to the closing table.
Yep.
Okay. And I say majority because they could be things that pop up later on. But that's something that we worry about sometimes as agents with some of these buyers that come with these approvals, and we don't know where they came from. It's like, who is this? Where they from? You
Right.
sure? Let me give them a call.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I understand, when I submit an offer for you, guess what? I'm putting my name on the line too.
Yep.
People don't think about that.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I bought you this client, but man, 45 days later, we still can't close for some reason.
This is true. This is some good
So
stuff.
it just boils all back, guys. Trust
Yeah,
your team. Know your team.
strong team, guys. I'm telling you.
Have a strong team behind you. Hey,
Hmm.
I think we gave some good content today, guys.
I
Awesome stuff.
agree.
Yeah, man.
I totally agree. As always, guys, if you have any questions, even after we stop this live, you can still continue to post any comments, questions in the chat. You can direct message any one of us if you guys have any questions. We're always looking for just topics to talk about on the next one. We definitely going to try to do these at least. We said every Tuesday, but sometimes every Tuesday don't quite work out, but
Yeah,
we'll at least try to make sure we get on here at least every as often as we can. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
Please send questions, guys. If something specifically you want us to tackle, be
mhm.
more than happy to handle it for you, so we can, help you reach your real estate goals.
Yep.
Yeah. All right,
Pleasure.
guys. Yeah, have a good one. It was great doing
All
this
right.
topic with you guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Later.
All right, guys.